everybody, welcome back to the Claremont Classic Garage. Oh, hang on. There we are. I'm waiting for a few bits and pieces to come in the mail so we can finish putting the back end together and we can finish putting the engine together. So while we wait, I've kind of run out of parts to paint. We're going to start working on the steering and the front end and the front axle and all that stuff. So let's get started on that. So these tractors, all the Fords, the little Fergusons, they have what we call a swept axle. You can see it's like a gull wing. And the purpose of that is so that you can adjust the track width of it by moving these, that we call them the knees. You can move them in and out, but you never have to adjust the drag links because it's swept back. As the front wheels move further out, they also go further back so that your front end alignment stays correct. Unfortunately, because the wheels are behind the pivot point of the axle, what ends up is you've got the weight of the machine, especially if it's got a loader on it, always trying to torque or twist that axle back. And over time, it's really hard to see here, but it actually will start to, as the axle works on this with that load, it actually starts to wear on the axle pin. And then the axle slowly over time twists and twists and twists and twists like that. And I'll show you the result of all that twisting. So what happens as the weight of the tractor is pushing down and trying to twist the axle, it puts a load this way on the radius rod. And eventually over time it will bend it. Now you can see here this one is bent. If you just follow that plank there, you can see here. Now look what happens when we flip it around. See, that's got an arc to it. It's not really all that bad. I've had some that, the top of them would be up here. Anyway, this is why us guys that like 9Ns always laugh, because they bragged in 1944 on the 2N when they switched from the cast steel I-beam style radius rods to these tubular ones. They said, "We reduced material and weight without sacrificing strength." Well, I've got news for you. I've never had to straighten a cast steel I-beam on a 2N or a 9N, but I've straightened lots of these. Anyway, everybody's got their own way of straightening them. Some guys say, heck, it's good enough for me, and they leave it. Other guys will chain it down to an I-beam and put a bottle jack underneath it and push up on it. I'll show you how we straighten them at the Claremont Classic Garage. It involves a little bit of violence. So here's a little tool I made that goes in the trailer hitch. We're going to use the old Ram 1500 to help us out here. It's a piece of 2-inch square tube with, I think it's 5/16 ball. And we welded a piece of pipe onto it so we get 3 1/4 inches. That's what we need there. Actually a little less. This is like 3 3/16. It just gives us a little grace for sliding this over. Then we put our radius rod over it and drop a bolt down through it. There we go. Now, get an axle stand, and here's what we're going to do. You see here where the ball is welded onto that? You don't want to have your axle stand beyond that weld. I usually put the axle stand right underneath the weld. There we go. So that's got some load on it. We're going to use the weight of the truck to help us. And sorry, I neglected to mention, we put this in here with the arc up. If you want, you can even use your farm jack to get a little more weight on it. You just have to be careful because the radius rod can pivot on that pin, and if your farm jack isn't exactly perfectly on level flat ground, you might end up with a farm jack in the face or taking out your tailgate. So be really careful if you're going to do this. Well, after all that, that's as tall as that stand goes. So we can let her back down. I think I might have got one extra notch out of it. you just use the old eyeball, and close enough is good enough on these. You lay a piece of 2x4 off it and start wailing on it with a sledgehammer. It only takes a few shots, believe me. That took a lot of it out. We'll give it a couple more. I've belted right on top of them before, but it puts dents in it. And then it looks stupid. Well, that's as close as darn it is to swearing, I'd say. We'll put it against, you can see here, there's still a tiny bit of arc to it. Maybe we'll give her another whack and see if we can get it straightened out some more. Now, if you want, you could have an assistant hold this and you could wail on that with both hands, but then that might just get a little too carried away and you end up with the thing bent the other way. At least they're swinging the hammer with only one hand. I got a fighting chance of not going. Look at that! Holy Toledos, we fixed it. Okay, let me grab the other one. All right, we did such a good job on the first one. Now we got the other one. Let's see how much this one's out. This one is not as bad, I don't think. Look, it's pretty darn good to start with. So we'll just give it a couple of whacks and see what we can do with it. Here we go. Alrighty, with our highly accurate straight edge here. Yeah, if you ever gone by 2x4s lately, it's not easy to get one this straight. Oh yeah, perfect. Okay, so we're done. So now this will work on any tractor that's got radius rods like this. All your Fergusons, Massey Fergusons, Fords from like 1944 right up into the 1980s. Although I think this problem was probably solved on a lot of the newer ones. Because I've never really seen like we had a Ford 2000 at work that we did horrible things to, and the radius rods on it were straight. So over the years they may have strengthened these up a little bit or done something with the front axle pin and bushing to keep that axle from always wanting to lay back. But anyway, that's how you do this. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope now you can go and straighten your radius rods. Just whatever you do, do it safely. I mean, while I was doing this, I should have had safety glasses on. I should have had safety shoes on. Don't be like me. And I'm usually pretty good with that after 32 years of it at work. So that was my bad. Anyway, I guess that'll do it for this short little video. When we come back to the steering and the front end, we'll actually be putting stuff together. We've got to do some work on the steering box and then just kind of put everything together. I'll show you how to set the alignment and all that stuff. Anyway, until then, if you haven't already, please, down below, hit the subscribe button and the bell for notifications. Leave a comment, hit the like button, ask me a question, send me a message. I love interacting with all of you. And until we meet again, this is Kevin checking out from the Claremont Classic Garage. Thanks for tuning in, and so long.